This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com. We just finished the final debate of the Iowa caucus season. It was held in Sioux City. Donald Trump was supposed to moderate another debate which fell apart. As you know, Donald Trump basically has annoyed the Republican Party and nobody wanted to participate in his debate. I analyzed this last one for Insider Iowa, of course, and also for WNYC in New York, and live blogged it for the Des Moines Register. And I think the consensus was that this debate was not very exciting. It was not very interesting, partly because most of the candidates did a pretty good job, did not have any big mistakes. There were no oops moments. And nothing particularly memorable was said by anybody. Having said that, what we were looking for was how Newt Gingrich would defend himself against the barrage of attacks that have been coming at him from the news media, from his opponents, from commentators and others, and whether he would be able to respond to those attacks on his personal life and also on his record as a consultant, as a lobbyist, and so on. And I guess the conclusion was that he took the beating pretty well, that he came out of this debate probably not too badly damaged, and that since he is the front runner in the polls in Iowa but also in the country, that he accomplished the mission of making it through this debate without saying something too controversial and without losing his temper. Number two, we were really anxious to see how Mitt Romney would perform. Mitt Romney was the front runner. Mitt Romney has slipped in the polls. Mitt Romney made a very big sort of stylistic boo-boo in the last debate when he challenged Rick Perry to a $10,000 bet. I won't go into the details of that. And at the end of the evening, sort of recalling what the other bloggers and I had been live blogging, I think we agreed that Mitt Romney did a really good job, that he was very focused, more focused than before, that he didn't go into strange directions with language or get distracted, that he looked presidential, that he looked like a leader, and that he essentially conveyed the message in the way that he made his comments, that he already was the candidate of the Republican Party. He gave the impression that this was a done deal and that it was a matter of him addressing more how he would defeat Barack Obama in November of 2012. And that was an interesting strategy. By and large, we think it worked. The loser was Ron Paul. Ron Paul has a very loyal base. But Ron Paul, in the last debate, really spent too much time talking about how the U.S. should not use military force abroad, spent too much time talking about how Iran really is not such a big threat and we don't even know if they have nuclear weapons or not. And it seemed odd for a Republican, conservative, and generally pro-defense base of the party for him to spend so much time on that. This also gave an opportunity to Michelle Bachmann to really lay into Ron Paul, to really beat him up in this debate on his weakness in the area of defense, naiveness on how safe the world is and how the U.S. essentially doesn't have to be proactive. And I thought that that was unfortunate for him because Ron Paul has been doing very well in the polls and was attracting supporters besides the traditional supporters that have been his bread and butter. So I think Ron Paul really hurt himself in this last debate, and we'll have to see how that expresses itself in the Iowa caucuses and in the next polls as well. Rick Santorum did a pretty good job, but Rick Santorum is not an exciting speaker, not an exciting debater. So I'm guessing he held his own. He is down in the polls quite far. And former Utah Governor Huntsman, surprisingly, was very weak, I thought. He doesn't seem to be a very good debater, or he was off stride maybe that evening, but I don't remember a single line really of his. He tried to interject something in there about Donald Trump, and it fell completely flat. Nobody cares about Donald Trump anymore. The surprise was that Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, went through an entire debate without making any mistakes. And he was more confident than I've ever seen him. I thought that he did a pretty good job. I thought that he was not excessively on the offensive, but held his ground very well. And since he has a tremendous amount of money and has been running ads in Iowa that are very well made and run continuously, it could be that he did himself a lot of good in that last debate. So this is the final debate analysis for Iowa debates that I'm going to do. And I think now it's up to the candidates to get their ground troops organized to go January 3rd to the caucuses and make those debates and those poll numbers actually pay off in terms of winning delegates and getting people to vote for them at the Iowa caucuses. This is Stephan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com.